Carl, Steve. All right.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Where in the world is Steve Hess? One never knows.
Santa Barbara.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, it's
All right. Enjoy.
all good here.
It's not 40 to 38 degrees and cloudy, I'm guessing. Oh, like here. Hey, Don. Good to see you again.
Right.
All right. We'll start in just a minute.
Carl put on he put on a tie today, Carl.
Carl always looks good.
Every time I come to a rock meeting, I got a tie.
Yep.
I've never seen him any other way. We've gone out at night
Hey,
for fun.
Don.
Throwing a tie. All right. 11 o'clock. We'll jump in. Thank you, everybody. We have some people on the phone. Um, my name is Andy Cohen. I'm the president of Rock Properties, and this is actually the 10th annual conference call. So thanks for being here. And as is our tradition, I'll talk for a few minutes and then we'll see if there's any questions, which I always love. Yeah, thanks for taking a few minutes away from watching your stock portfolios to join us. I know that's not easy right now. And so I'm going to do a little different this year. Um, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary on this past Valentine's Day, was the
Hard to
anniversary.
believe I've been
Hopefully,
investing in some of those properties for 30
hopefully,
years.
oh yeah, that it sounds like Bob. Is that Bob? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't muted.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm
All right.
listening.
Okay, good to have you there. I can't see you here actually. Good, I'm glad you're there. So yeah, so it's been 30 years on Valentine's Day. We celebrated the anniversary. Hopefully, you all got your Valentine's Day cards. And so we thought we'd do a little something a little different, which is recognize some of the people who got us here. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. But I did want to go over some of the names, and some are on this call actually, or might be, and recognize them for what they did. And I'll start with Wolf Sickerman. He was getting buildings, thoroughly neglected buildings from the city of New York, and they were occupied, and we were taking them apart and putting them back together. So he taught me property management and real estate and building construction. But more than that, he taught me human nature. I was a graduate of what we called the Little Ivy, Wesleyan University, and the school certainly taught me how to think. I'll be ever forever indebted to it for that. But it really didn't do a good job teaching me how the world works in terms of human nature. And apparently, they do a better job of that at the yeshivas in Brooklyn. So Wolf told me, no, Andy, this is how it really works. And it was a great education there with him. And he was a wonderful mentor, wonderful man. And still in touch. There's my sister who has been a mentor my whole life. And at the time, she was director when I was starting out. She was director of something called Mountain Leadership School in the White Mountains for the Appalachian Mountain Club. It's a week-long program taking camp counselors, church leaders out into the woods for a week and teaching them how to safely and correctly bring groups into the mountains on trips. Because there used to be a lot, groups would get into a lot of trouble in the mountains, and this taught them how to do it right. And she brought me in as an instructor. Eventually, I became director of it for 4 years. And in that program, I learned time management, decision making, and the power of group decision making, crowdsourcing, where the group almost always comes up with a better decision if you put your heads together. So those were great lessons I got up there. And then while I was working for Wolf, go out to dinner with a friend, Charlie, and he says to me, Andy, I have $10,000. You know real estate. Why don't we get together, make a partnership? I'll put in the money, you do the work, and we'll split the profits. And I looked at him and said, Charlie, you would give me money? He goes, yeah. Great. Okay. And I went home. I called my sister, of course, first call, and I said, Ronna, would you give me $10,000 if I buy a building and we run it for an investment? She goes, sure. I'm like, whoa. I went to the office the next day. I said to the bookkeeper at Wolf's office, believe me, it's good. I said, believe me, would you want to invest $10,000 in a building? She said, sure. I was like, oh my gosh, this is easy. And they've all those people, the first guy ended up not coming in ever, but everybody else did come in. And I could not believe that people would respond so positively. And that was the first hint I got that this was possible. My sister's first husband, Phil Siegel, is a brilliant
You
entrepreneur,
healed
and
that.
patiently, patiently explained, he patiently explained the model of syndicating investments like that between a general partner and limited partners. I didn't get it. He walked me through it. I saw that it was possible, and that's how we set up our first investment. And back then, LLCs weren't even a legal entity, so we had to do it as general partnerships with limited partners. And then when time came to buy the first building, people on this call were there, and Howard Kaufman was one of them. I'd never met him, but as I knew his son. The family had sold KB Toys. They were making investments, and Howard said, "I'll take 2 units." Never met him, and it was people like that that made it possible so that we could close on the building. And Phil Oppenheimer, he enthusiastically invested in our first building. That was in Jersey City 30 years ago. And not only that, from then on, he and Carl committed to one, loaning money so we can make the purchase happen. Today, it's a huge industry. It's called hard money loans. People do them at 12, 15%, usually about a year long. And it's an industry. They were charging prime plus 1, I think, back then. And it facilitated the purchases. So I could go to brokers, say, yeah, we're gonna buy it. And they would loan the money for the purchase. We would close with their loan. And then afterwards, as we were running it right away, go out into the market and raise the money from the investors for a building that was already running. It made it much easier for people to decide to invest in a building if we already owned it and we really had intimate knowledge of it. And so that was so helpful. And the way things worked back then, I would call Phil, say, "Here's the building, here's what we're doing." He'd say, "Okay," and he'd wire the money. The next day, I'd get around to sending some paperwork off, a note, just fax it over. But it was all on a handshake back then. It was incredible. And then not only that, committed to backstopping the investments. If I brought in a number of his investors, Carl's investors, and they took units in the properties directly, and always said, if you can't raise money, I'll be there for you. We'll raise it. And for that, they took about 10% of my back end. I don't know, Carl, can we say how much that was on the last distribution, that 10%? Am I allowed to mention that number or no? No?
He's muted.
Yes or no? I don't know. You could
Sure,
nod.
sure.
Okay. So yeah, just the last 6-month period, the 10% back end they took for that was $35,000. I mean, it's material money. So but it was a huge help to us. Really kept us rolling in terms of buying properties and giving us credibility with the community that we could close. Another wonderful investor, every deal came in on a phone call, was Howard Freeman. And sadly, he passed in January. And you may know him from these calls. He always came in enthusiastically, was one of our biggest cheerleaders, and always had a question. He had wonderful gut instincts for investing. He was a wonderful husband, wonderful father, proudest grandfather of his 2 granddaughters, Daniela and Jessica. And he's definitely will be missed, but he came in every deal and was always there and would call once a month just to hear what was going on and bounce ideas off us. It was always wonderful. Joe Paparato, he was actually profiled in the last newsletter, and he met him at a building. He was president of a bank. He came out, he wanted to kick the tires and see it, and he loaned us money more than once, and also then came in and invested all along, gave us a real stamp of approval in the community. And speaking of backing up, actually, Wolf Sickerman invested in the first building too, which really gave it a seal of approval. That was a huge help. And lastly, there's our staff. I mean, we could not, over the years, incredibly dedicated staff. Gisela, Israel, May, all these names. And now Wendy, Daniela, and Nicole, who are doing a great job now. And then our property managers, Luis, Ivan, and Jose over the years. And then all the site managers, the resident managers, an incredible group of dedicated people. What they do is almost beyond imagination to keep our tenants in good housing. So that's what I wanted to do. I sent everything else that was in the newsletter. My mentality of the newsletter is when there's good news, a couple of sentences, a photo, a short victory lap. When there's some cloudiness, when we're not sure, a little uncertainty, that's when I go on at length and maybe describe it. Well, my sister told me, you overshare, you give too much information. But my sister, she beats me up sometimes. I discounted it. But then now another investor said, you really went on and on about this the East Orange tax credit deal. There is ChatGPT. You could just put in ChatGPT and say, make it a third short. Wouldn't hurt. So we actually do use ChatGPT on certain phrases when I can't quite get it right in the newsletter. But in the spirit of not going on and on, I'll let the newsletter stand for itself. But the tax credit property, we have a new manager there. He hit the ground running, and all the compliance struggles we've had are quickly evaporating. We're catching up there. So that's all I will say right now. And let's open it up to questions if there are any. If anybody has a thought.
I guess I'll open it up at the risk of being told that it was in the letter. Where are we? What refinancings are coming up in the near term?
Yeah, it wasn't really because really there are none. I think we're more than 2 years out to looking at having to go to the market for new debt. Just gives us more time to amortize the debt we have, pay some of it down, keep the rents going up. But yeah, we're not facing any financing issues right now. It's always a good question. Yeah, and no, it wasn't in there. It was I think we talked about the time before. Yeah. Anybody else? Bob and I have been talking about the stock market, but that's on hold right now. All right.
No.
That's
Any-
quick. All right, Steve.
I'll ask a question.
Oh, good. Yeah,
We
let's
know
hear
about
from you.
East Orange, we know is difficult with rent registrations. Any changes in any town that you're in as far as towns being onerous and beating you up on rent registrations or finding not illegal rents, but just beating you up?
No, East Orange is beyond imagination. Our issues, actually, the building we have in East Orange does not fall under rent control in that town, but we have federal issues with compliance with tax credits and Section 8. But no, yeah, Steve owns in East Orange. We were a property manager there. Really got overwhelmed with City Hall. It wasn't our expertise, and Steve's been wonderful about working to straighten it out. It's a tough town with rent control beyond any reasonable bounds. Yeah, so good luck with that. No, we haven't had those issues other places.
You're not getting beaten up? You don't know? Okay.
No, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
Jersey City's a little tricky, but yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's tough. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right.
Well, how about just general market and opportunities for new investment?
Yeah, I mean, from the multifamily side, it's from what I see, I've been out there looking a little bit, prices, and there's been some trades, sales are way down. I mean, the volume of sales is way down. It's not like people are dropping their prices so much in our markets. I don't know if Steve sees that, but
No.
values of multifamily is basically holding up. A package just traded in Newark for pretty decent prices we're used to seeing. There's just so much cash out there. Rents are still going up. And so I'm not saying there's not deals out there, but maybe one-offs. But there's no way to just jump in and gobble stuff up. And I'm almost the wrong guy to ask. Have I been out bird dogging and trying to find deals? Not enough. But I don't want to go out and do something stupid. But I am looking again, and maybe we'll turn up something, something of value. But yeah, it's other sectors I can't speak for as much. I think amazingly, strip mall retail, community-oriented retail is doing phenomenally. Industrial lately, from what my fellow owners say, is a little soft. Data centers are really soft, ironically, because the only place you can put them are places with gigawatts of power, and that's not everywhere. Those AI centers need a ton of juice. And suburban office is hurting Class A office is full, doing better than ever. Not enough of it. So I don't know. Yeah.
Do you want my attorney's opinion of volume?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my
He's an
long-term,
owner. He's a fellow. He owns more than Rock Properties does. So he's a great source. Go ahead.
my longtime real estate attorney said over the years he was 90% real estate transactional work and 10% corporate. It was a 90-10 ratio. It's now the other direction, 90% corporate, 10%, because the volume is so way down. And he said a lot of his 90% corporate is actually, baby boomers figuring out, how to pass the real estate. It's either real estate or businesses they own and passing it to the next generation or selling it. So 90-10 to 10-90.
Wow. That's slow right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I haven't seen a lot of distress. Not a lot of distress in multifamily. The rents have gone up enough to keep guys. Banks maybe quietly are cutting some deals, but I haven't seen much distress on the market. I don't know if you have. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yep.
Good news. We can end on good news.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen for that. Anybody else? Have another minute if we want to take it.
Oh,
Otherwise,
hey, Andy. This is Margot Reeder. Sorry.
Margot.
Hey, I'm in a mobile situation here, so just pardon the situation. But
hey, we hear you loud and clear.
I just want to wish everybody well. I'm a second generation from Howard Kaufman, and third generations are involved in supporting this as investors, and we have just been very pleased, and I'm glad you got to meet my dad. At the very end of his life, but it was a really we've been very big supporters of you, and we hope it continues happily.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. You've been there for 30 years. We've been to Israel together. And we named a building after your father. It's a Howard Kaufman building at 45 Hopkins Ave in Jersey City. We're very proud of that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here today. All right. On that note, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for taking time out of your day. And we'll stay in touch. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody. Take care.
too. Bye.
Thank you. Good. Bye-bye.